Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I want to start off by saying I'm very sorry for my lack of presence this last week in terms of video content and everything. It's just been a pretty whelming week for me, and I've had a lot going on. Good news is that I am back at full force, and I've got about 3 videos all edited and ready to go. The only thing they're missing is the commentary, so I'm taking some time tonight to get that done. This first video is going to show about 2 sessions. It's going to have my Sunday workout from last week and the Tuesday. This is my big bro Adam coming down from Canada before the football season starts and playing around with the slingshot. He's never used it before, but he came and woke me up, and we did an early-ish session, early for me, pretty late in the day for him. And I hit my pin presses, he hit some slingshot work and also some pin presses. And then I did my pause deadlifts afterwards. So he went home, I went back out to the garage, got back to work. I think I hit 4 or 5 triples here at 565, working really hard on my positions and trying to accelerate the weight and just fix some little issues that I've been having with kind of the comfortability of that lift. And so that went pretty well. Then fast forward to Tuesday, I had my squats and my bench press. And this is the last week of kind of this mini volume session that I've got going on, where I'm trying to work in more volume density for the amount of time that I'm doing. And so in about 18 minutes, I worked up, hit 2 triples here at 535, and then 2 triples at 565, which the week prior to this on Saturday, I was only able to get 2 triples at 535 and then 2 doubles at 565. So 2 more lifts, and I did it in 18 minutes. So that was actually a little bit less time than it took even the week before, which was pretty nice. I will say that I did get a little grindy on some of those reps, and just have a lot of work to do. As always, it's definitely still paying off my fatigue debt here, and I'm very excited to get out of the volume block so that I have some more rest time in between sets. I think that kind of intra-set recovery is going to be really, really pronounced when I start resting more than just a couple of minutes in between these lifts. And I'm really excited to see how all this work pays off. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and everything starts looking a little better. So one of the reasons that I haven't really gotten to these commentaries yet is because there's been quite a lot going on social media in the powerlifting world. And if you don't know about it, I don't want to drag you into it or worry you about it. A lot of it is kind of not going to help you with your own journey, so why bother? But I think it's also important to kind of take some issues or take some general concepts or ideas and share them, because that's kind of what I do with my channel. And today we're going to go back to a topic that I have discussed in the past, but I think it's always a decent idea to reflect on some of those kind of life views and perspectives that may help a few of you who might be going through some of the things that I've been seeing on social media. So the idea of the topic today is there's been a lot of criticism being thrown out. There's been a lot of criticism being dealt with by people and then responded to by people. And there's some good examples, there's some poor examples. Like I said, I'm not going to point anybody out and use them as my example, but what I will say is I have a couple of ways that I like to personally deal with criticism that have worked well for me. And the first part of it is, first of all, think about what the person is saying and analyze it yourself. A lot of the time, people are just really poor with their approach when it comes to dishing out critique. And for the people who are dishing out that criticism, remember that if you actually want to make a difference with what you're saying, if you actually want it to be effective, your tone is very important. The attitude that you're taking and approaching the person with is the most important factor, because if you're super negative and vitriolic and filled with hate and spit and fire at the person, they're not going to listen to you, or they're not going to grow from it. And so why are you even taking the time out of your day to say that? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. You're just doing it and kind of perpetuating a negative energy that's going around. That's contagious, and it's not a good thing. For the person who's receiving that criticism, when you're analyzing it yourself, a lot of the time, the people or the things that people say that sting the most and hurt the most are also the things that you believe yourself. And it's really easy to get caught into this trap where you take some piece of criticism, it hurts, it stings, and you take a really defensive stance and kind of disallow yourself to learn from that potentially helpful advice. and just become defensive and spit back at the person with more negativity, and nothing gets fixed. They're not helping because of their attitude, and you're not helping because you're taking it too personally and you're letting your ego get in the way. So if it is a piece of advice or critique that you could potentially use in the future, don't just shut it out in your mind. Don't just say, well, that person's coming at me with some negativity, I'm just going to not even bother. Ignoring the haters is only a good practice if what they're saying is completely untrue, and sometimes it's important to be self-critical in those moments and decide whether or not it's worth your time to address. The final part of it is responding to that critique. Just like when you're giving a criticism, your tone, your attitude, and your approach are very important. It's the only part that can really elevate the situation to being beneficial or pull it down even further into a negative state. If you can try to spin what they've said or their input into something that's positive, it is amazing how effective it can be to build on the situation and make it positive for both parties. I will give myself as an example here. Someone might come onto some of my videos and say, oh, your technique looks flawed on your squat, you're bending over at the waist too much, your chest is dropping, you don't look like your squat's very good, you suck, you should, fix that. And my response to them would be, I admit that I am a human being and I'm not perfect, but I am working on it. And so if you have any advice or things that are helpful, I'll consider those. But for right now, I'm going to take my imperfect squat and I'm going to keep practicing it to try and get better. You take an honest analysis of the situation, admit to yourself that you're imperfect in some ways, and then drop the ego and say, well, I can work on that. But if you respond to the person by saying, hey, I'm working on it, I'm not perfect, they don't really have much to come back at you for. Oh yeah, well, you're trying to get better? Well, you suck in some other way. And their whole argument loses its weight. It loses its ability to affect your mood and make you feel negative about the situation. So I encourage you, I implore you, and I entreat you to please focus on the tone that you use, focus on the words that you say, and try to work towards being empowering to other people and yourself by spreading positivity instead of negativity. It's way too easy to spit fire, but it is a real challenge and a sign of character to grow and shut your ego down and be a positive force in the world. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I talked so long on that, but I thought it was kind of important, and I hope you're all doing well. But I have more videos coming up very soon, and I hope to see you then. Thanks again, and have a good night. Bye.